For many years, I obsessed about the meaning of marriage because of my parents' relationship. Finally, I decided to put their story together. It began when they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary.
This, the 50th wedding anniversary.
Sometimes I used to feel that he took such care with her, such care of her, because he felt guilty.
It was the lady and the tramp. That's exactly what they were.
In their final years, my father professed his love over and over and over again, but to be quite honest with you, it was too late.
Dancing in the dark till the tune ends. We're dancing in the dark, and it soon ends. We're waltzing in the wonder of why we're here. Time hurries by.
Who of us ever really knows our parents?
Looking for the light of a new love to brighten up the night. I have you, love, and we can face the music together.
Give daddy a kid. Don't want to give daddy a kid.
Dad, what did the physical therapist say about trying to get her to talk? Anything? You think she could start talking?
I don't know. I tried it for all these months already.
I used to love hearing the story of how they met. Once upon a time, in a small town on the Russian-Polish border, lived a beautiful young woman called Bella. She loved to read Russian literature, Pushkin, Tolstoy. She had many gentlemen admirers. She came to America at the beginning of the Great Depression.
Look, did you see this? Your mother and I. The way we were all dressed. Wasn't it beautiful?
Beautiful.
I look at it many nights when I sit here. I take the album. It's like I'm having an orgasm.
In 1935, Bella sailed to Palestine on the Aquitania. And on the boat, she met a man who swept her off her feet. And by the time they arrived in Haifa Harbor, he had asked her to marry him. And so they married and settled in Jerusalem.
Your father, when he was young, was a very handsome man, and she was a beautiful woman, and oh, what a hell of a life they had.
What did you think of my mother?
What did I think of her mother? What did I? She was my sister-in-law, that's all.
My mother thought she was getting a prince. All she knew was that he came from a prominent Jerusalem family that had lived in Palestine for over 200 years.
That. And 40 cents today will buy you a cup of coffee.
But it was hard times in Jerusalem. Driven by poverty and cholera, my grandparents had moved to America, and there my father was born. He grew up a street kid from Brooklyn. What did he know of Jerusalem? My mother always said he was a good provider, but she wanted more. She wanted culture, she wanted refinement, she wanted his attention. That was not my father.
Lily, what exactly do you plan to do with this?
I'm making a film.
You're making a film?
Yeah.
So I certainly won't talk.
I had my parents to myself until I was 5, when my sister Dorothy was born. I didn't want anyone else around, but she was like a doll. She was so pretty. Then we moved to Washington, D.C., where my brother Donnie was born. I was already 10 years old. He was like my baby.
They argued all the time. If she asked him something, he would shout. I didn't see a normal, loving relationship between my father and my mother.
In fact, I went to a friend's house one night, probably when I was 5 or 6 years old, a sleepover, and they had to take me home at 2 o'clock in the morning because the mother and father were touching and hugging each other. And I was scared. I wanted to go home where there was no hugging and kissing.
You want to give me another kiss? No? Give me a Angela. Give me a Angela. Oh, you don't want to give me no Angela now?
What are you feeding her, Dad?
Huh? Oh, I got to give you food. It's 12 o'clock. What do you think? You're getting away with this business? Oh. Walk
with me, Bella.
Right foot.
Pick
Left
it up.
foot.
Yes,
That's right. Atta girl. You did it right that time, baby.
Here you are now, taking care of her. And what are your thoughts about it?
What have any thoughts of what?
That you wasted so many years and now look at the
I didn't
situation.
waste no years, did I? Taking care of her now. I always loved her. Hey, Bubby. Bubby, did I always love you? Huh?
My description is a great love affair that never really caught on. There was a love fire. There was a love between the two of them that kept them together, but in name only.
I feel you two are, well, you've always been closed-mouthed.
I don't know anything. Can you explain to her? I really do not know anything about her mother and father. And that's it. I really don't. I really don't.
But you do, Aunt Hilda.
Lily, I told you I will not talk anymore. What do you need this for? What do you want her to say? Your father was a womanizer? So we know that. That's about all I know about your father. I mean, it was none of my business what anybody was doing.
Did you know that I knew about my father?
I suspected you did, Lily.
Because I was the only one who knew. My mother used to tell me.
Mm-hmm. I guess, sure, you were the oldest child, just to talk to somebody.
The first philandering moment. I was 9 years old. And he said, "Come on, I'll take you for a ride."
I was older than you and Donnie.
How old?
It was, it's about 19 years old. I had just met Bill.
And I guess I was about 16 years old. And he told me he was going to Baltimore to a steam bath. And at 16 years old back then, who knew what steam baths were all about?
I thought he was inviting me to go for a ride with him. And I remember I got into the car, the Packard. And he says, we're just going to go see some friends.
I laid down in the back seat of his car. He didn't know I was there. Followed him.
I went to make a phone call to tell Bill that I couldn't go out.
And I felt like I sat there for hours and hours. I don't know how long it was. It was a few hours.
And I got on the phone, and Dad was on the phone with a woman.
And then I saw him coming down the stairs with a very beautiful woman.
And after many hours, went to the door that he knocked on, or that he went into and knocked on the door, and this woman came to the door.
She had red hair and dark brown eyes. Her name was Jerry. And my window was lowered. And so she came and stuck her head in the window and said, "Hiya." And I didn't want to talk to her. I could even smell her.
And he was telling her he loved her, and he would be over tonight as soon as the kids were gone.
And then he gets in the car and he says, "Don't tell your mother. Tell her we went to see Leo."
And that's when I found out.
It went quick. It went awfully quick. And now we're getting married for another 50 years.
Why did you have another wedding ceremony today?
Because maybe I was illegal. Maybe the rabbi down in Israel didn't say it right. I figured this time he'd say it right, so I'll be married legally.
May you bless and prosper them in all their worthy endeavors. Amen. Mazel tov.
By this point in their lives, my mother had had several small strokes, and my father had one leg amputated.
That had to be a love story between those two. Wonder what happened, what changed it all.
Ma, did you ever think you would make 50 years?
When we got married, everybody said this marriage wouldn't last long. They gave us a month. But we're celebrating the 50th wedding anniversary, and I'm very happy about it.
Do you recommend marriage as an institution?
Well, in my time, you had to get married. Nowadays, you could get the milk without buying a cow.
My mother told me that even from the very beginning, he cheated on her with her best friend, Gloria.
I just remember that they came off the boat and there was another woman there too.
Yes, her friend.
Her friend, and that's all I remember.
I remember. What was her name? Do you remember her name?
Gloria.
What?
Gloria.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, then it was Gloria.
What she don't know didn't hurt her. What she found out, maybe it hurt her. I don't know.
You know, she was the kind of woman that all my cousins wanted to be near, wanted to come to, wanted to cuddle up with. She was the woman that everybody could tell everything to.
We would go to the bagel shop, and I remember it was just so loud in there, and everybody knew her, you know, and she was always smiling. And I mean, I never saw anybody have an unkind word to say about Bubby. And she just seemed to have so many friends, and just people loved her.
Your mother was just, like I say, she was an angel. She loved everybody. Even if she didn't like them, she loved them.
She liked to be with young people all the time. She'd much rather be with young people than old people.
Do you remember, Marlene, when she came to California when I was getting my master's degree? She had such a great
She had
time.
such a wonderful time. We were so happy. She had a marvelous time.
When I was growing up, my friends always came to our house. All the parties were at our house, and right in the midst of everything was Bella.
It was the 60s. Bella came to Berkeley to see me get my MA, but I had one more exam to take, so I sent her off on a trip with my friends. She was away from my father, from her friends, from her life. She was liberated. It became her summer of freedom. She never forgot it. What can you say to people, having been married 50 years? Do you have any words of advice about marriage?
If they got a woman like mine, it's worth it.
Give me some highlights of the marriage.
When the first child was born and when the last. Because the second one was also another girl. I was down the dumps. Then when I had my tchotchke, the boy, then I was happy.
My father and I never really had a relationship, so I never felt that there was a bond. There was never love.
I have some serious questions to ask you. Why do you think that you don't get along with any of your children?
Who don't get along? They don't get along with me.
Ah. What about Donnie?
Donnie, I get along with Donnie.
Oh, that's not true, you know.
What's the matter? We argue too with Donnie?
You don't argue with Donnie?
No, not that I know of.
He was just mean to me, always. All I can ever remember is, comments from him like, "You're a bum, you'll never amount to anything." Things that I think were in some way jealousy.
He really is very angry with you. Do you know that?
For what?
For everything. He can't talk to you.
What does he want to talk about?
I don't know, Dad. I think some parents have different relationships with their kids than we have with you. You make things hard for us.
What do I make hard? Do I ask for anything?
No.
So?
You never ask. You're independent. And maybe that's part of the problem. We never feel that we can be with you. We never feel we can talk to you.
Talk about what?
About anything that has to do with human communication.
As a child, I stood there and looked. I don't think I ever met a man who danced as well as my father. Did you ever dance with him?
I tried.
Oh, because that was my big thrill. He was my first crush. I was in love with my father from the very beginning. I insisted on even getting my hair cut just like him. I wanted to be like him. But then there was disillusion. Every time he betrayed my mother, he was betraying me. He was betraying all of us. I loved him and hated him. I was ashamed of him. He was the most important man in my life. My father, myself. Probably was a very exciting man to be with.
Maybe he was. I mean, he was in the Washington Mafia at one time. He was a bookie at one time.
You know so much more than I do, Dot, because I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know this stuff. Where was I in all this?
You were never home.
I think he was a trip. I mean, I remember one time me and my friend Sarah went to visit him, and I knocked on the door and he didn't come, and I opened the door and he had all these bug sprays going off everywhere, and he was sleeping during all this fumigation. I was like, what are you doing?
He had a great personality. He could be very sociable. Listen, and the customers would come in the store, he would kid with them and this and this and this.
That's one thing, he always worked hard, you know, but I don't know what he did with the money.
Other people made a lot of money. He wasn't smart. And he didn't know how to make the money or how to keep it. He spent a lot of money on lawyers. And I think he was caught once.
I think he was. I have some kind of
a
memory.
few times. With the hot merchandise, we had typewriters, we had televisions, we had rings, we had,
You mean hot?
Hot.
Hey, you want a picture of my legs? You want to take a picture of my legs?
Don't get her, man.
Look at that. Hey, Baldy. Bubby, look at Baldy. Look at the fat man. The fat man and the skinny man. Yeah. Put that sleeping cap on then.
I think we'll send them to the circus when they come.
That's enough. Enough playing around with my stumps.
The stumps. It's the stumps that got to me when I saw my father. The first time I saw him without a leg, all I could think of was about the dancing. When he had his second leg removed, it was so traumatic, especially when I thought that he didn't have to have the leg removed. And just to see those stumps. My father, the dancer, without legs. What was the best time that you remember?
When we were younger, we used to go out a lot and dance a lot. Your dad is a very good dancer. We danced a lot, we went to parties, we played cards, we traveled. And I love to travel.
All right, the reason we took them in is I didn't feel like they should be left alone at this time of their lives. And they were able to do for themselves when they first came. And I enjoyed having Bubby around. We'd go out to eat. She loved going out to eat. Or she always would say, I'd say, what do you want for dinner? She says, let's have Kentucky Fried Chicken. Papa Benny will pay for it, but Papa Benny never wanted to pay for it.
I got nothing against Dorothy. What gets me is that she's here when she comes home, and she says, I'm going, I gotta go shopping, I'll be back. Why tell us?
Why not? She wants you to know what she's doing.
If she's going away, and many times she goes away and she don't tell us anything, so what difference
Maybe she doesn't come in here because she doesn't feel comfortable.
It's hard. He's a very hard person to live with. Bless her heart, 53 years of it. But when he aggravates me, I walk out.
Ben was a nice man to other people. He was well loved by the community, by where his business was, his business neighbors and associates. It was just his family that he ignored.
Of all of us, it was my sister Dorothy who bore the brunt of my father's emotional abuse.
we'd go to restaurants, and he would say, you don't eat anything, you're fat enough. And, you know, where waiters would hear, I'll never be anything, I was fat. And he would stare me down. If I looked at him, I remember when the food came around, I'd look to see if he was looking, he would just stare at me like, go on and eat, horse. You all don't know, you didn't have it that bad. No. That's why I wanted love.
Why is it we don't have loving feelings towards you?
That I don't know, because I then never gave loving feelings to nobody else.
Did you give any loving feelings to your children?
Nobody. I never got loving feelings from my father and mother. Well, what kind of loving feelings? They took care of me when I was a kid, and that's it.
He never got any love at home. He was never at home. Whoever saw him.
Your mother didn't show affection.
She did not.
Yeah,
she did not show affection. She just didn't show affection. She was not an outgoing person. But she didn't have time. She had 12 kids. When the hell did she have time to show love to 12 kids?
She had 12 kids. She had 12 children.
Like I used to say, I should give everybody, my kids, the same thing my daddy gave me. Right? What do you say? What do you say, Bobby?
He probably came from a family where he suffered a lot himself. And he certainly couldn't relate to the children or his wife. And she got sick from all this. She was a healthier woman than I was. But she definitely got sick from all these problems.
The children all feel that way.
Yeah, he killed her. I hate to say it.
You receive 200 pounds of choice meat.
You want to hit me?
100 pounds of pork and poultry for $150. That's $50 per month. You'll also receive 20 ribeye steaks for opening a 90-day account, plus a 16-pound ham for setting an appointment. Remember, 300 pounds.
You want me to hit him, Bella?
Only $150 at
You want me to hit him?
Beef in Winston-Salem.
Hold on a minute.
This little piggy went to the market, this little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef, this little piggy had none. This little piggy cried, wee, 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 wee. Whoop, look what I found.
Better stop that. I don't know who I'm going to hit first.
He said she wouldn't give him sex.
Get over there.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I think my mother was a prude. I think my mother never liked sex. And maybe that's why JB looked for it elsewhere. I don't know.
You know, my mother thought that I was a whore.
What did she know?
You know, I don't condemn my father because he went elsewhere for sex. I mean, unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to look at it, men are like that.
But he bragged. He thought it was a great accomplishment. Look what an ego does to a person.
Did you ever think of a divorce?
At one time. At one time I did. But I thought, I know what I have, I don't know what I'll get. So I settled. I made the best of it.
Look, none of us had any careers, professions, or anything to support ourselves. We didn't have any formal education to do anything else but maybe work as a salesperson. She was afraid, really, to leave him. You have 3 children and you have to make a life for your family.
Divorce was always in the air. Once my aunt came from Israel to help my mother get a divorce. When I was in Berkeley, I flew to D.C. Dorothy came from North Carolina.
I remember all of us, when Aunt Sylvia was there, we all went there, begged her to leave him. And the king would sit in his room, and she'd still serve him.
I remember going with her to a lawyer, that she had made up her mind to leave him. We went to the lawyer, and then the next thing I knew, she changed her mind.
I think in everybody's life is ups and downs. But you have to take it. They have to take the sweet with the bitter.
And we knew it. We went home. You and I went home knowing she's not getting a divorce.
You glad you didn't get a divorce? You remember once I came to get you divorced? Are you glad that you didn't?
Yeah. I'm glad we're celebrating the 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, buddy. Wanna go to the park? Wanna go to the park?
Ooh, am I wet? Yeah, back in. Now you go to the edge, Joyce, and don't be afraid. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Take that to the middle. Look at the fish grabbing.
I never knew whether she understood what was going on around her. Now I know she did understand.
Over here, Papa. You want duck for dinner tonight? You want Daddy to grab a duck?
Oh,
Dad, don't you think it's ironic that you who always ran around and Mommy always wanted your complete undivided attention, and now that's what she's got?
Yeah, too late.
Too late is right. So, JB, what I wanted to talk about was your other life.
What other life? You mean when I was playing around?
Yeah, and you know...
I never told anybody else that I loved them. Never.
Well, you have a peculiar way of showing your love, don't you think?
Well, I always loved Mommy. When she wanted to divorce me, you remember? I told her she'll never get it. I told her, I says, I married you, I loved you, and I still love you. And I'll never let you go. And I never told any other girl that I loved them. I always told them I got a wife, and I married her for the rest of my life.
Even the woman that you kept all these years?
That's right. Who's the woman I kept?
Mommy told me. She told me years ago.
Did you go with her in her detective work ever, following
Yes.
him?
I remember going with her once. She wanted me to take her somewhere, and we followed him and found him. She knew he was sleeping with others and had a mistress and whatever.
She would tell us she was going up north, and she stayed in Maryland and Washington at friends' homes, and she'd spy on him.
Who did I keep?
Mom,
What did I keep?
Mom says you have a black son.
What?
That's what Mama told me years ago.
So you got a black brother?
Yeah.
Step brother?
I would like to meet him. Is that possible? I would like that. Can I do that? Would
No.
you won't get me?
I ain't got none.
Oh, you know you're bullshitting.
I ain't got
Then
none.
you can't even tell the truth in this last will and testament.
I ain't got none.
You lie all the time.
I'm lying.
So tell me the truth for once.
I ain't got none.
Bullshit. I know all about it. I know all about it. I know her name, but I don't know where.
What's her name?
I know her name.
What's her name?
I know it.
You know her name? What's her name?
I tell you, it starts with an R, but I'm not going to tell you further.
You mean Rosa?
Yeah.
You must be good. I don't know where you ever found out Rosa's got a son.
I found out. I just don't know how to find him. I'd like to meet him.
Rosa has got no son. She's got one, she ain't mine.
For 10 years, the thought of another woman and a possible brother rankled. I couldn't put it to rest. Long after my parents had both died, I found a telephone number in my father's address book. Hello, can I speak to Rosa Douglas? She doesn't live there? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, I'll tell you. I'm somebody who, well, I'll tell you, my name is Lilly, and Lilly Rivlin, and maybe, can you take my number, or I don't know how to do this, but she knew my father, and I want to talk to her about him. His name was Ben. Ben, you know Ben? Sure, I was curious. I hoped that in finding Rosa, I might get another perspective on my father. Hi, Rosa. It's Lilly Rivlin. Let me tell you, I've heard about you for many years, and you're probably wondering why I'm calling, right?
He sort of warned me that this time will come.
No. You mean he said to you something like, someday my daughter Lily's gonna call you?
And he told me all about you and your writing and your articles. And I'm sure you was his favorite.
Well, it's good to be surprised. It's good to be surprised. And then I have the biggest question of them all, Rosa, and that is, do we have another brother, as my father told several people? Oh, well, I mean, if you don't know, then, do you have a son, and is he... No. Oh, that's interesting. Because he did say that. Oh, God, it's so difficult. You know, my intention is only to put together pieces of the puzzle. So I'm into my completion stage. I'm finishing things.
This is funny.
Yes, it is.
You're very
much
cute.
so.
I wondered, was I betraying my mother by meeting Rosa?
We had a little crazy to me relationship, but I thought it was beautiful. His words to me was, I want to take care of you. And I had to think about it, and then I gave him an okay. And that's how our relationship started. To me, he was a very gentle person. I admired the heck out of him. Other than that, I just say that he had a heart of gold. Every Christmas, he would donate shoes to some orphanage, and I guess this was his contribution. But over in Southeast, he was a warrior. I'm sure the black people looked at him as being a hero, and the whites looked at him also as being an enemy.
I hope I don't shock you, but I know my sexuality is connected to my father. Was he the best lover you ever had?
You say the best lover I ever had, and I would have to say no. My part was to make him feel as young as he wanted to feel. I've always had a thing about a man respecting me. And I felt that if a man could not respect me and treated me like I like to be treated, I had no time for him.
Why did he tell my mother's caretaker that he had a son with you?
I don't know, because I never had a kid or a child from him or for him. I've never had any kids at all myself.
I believe, Rosa, that she never had a child with my father. I'll never know whether or not I have a brother somewhere out there. It's part of the enigma of my father that we're left with. J.B. was an actor. Either that or he was a liar. An essential moment about J.B. It was after he had his leg amputated. I took him to the doctor. I heard him tell the doctor one of his tall tales, that he had been in the Marines, that he played football. I could barely restrain myself until we got to the car. When I asked him, "J.B., why do you always have to lie?" He looked at me, sort of winked, and said, "Don't you know that life is but an illusion?"
Better than what?
But an illusion? Don't you know that life is but an illusion?
Oh, an illusion. Oh.
Would you believe that your brother said that to me?
No, I didn't know that he knew how to use that word.
I kept telling this story, but no one ever saw the significance of it. I mean, a guy who could say what he said about illusion was capable of reflection, introspection, qualities I had never seen in my father. Either that or he was truly existential and saw life as a game, a fantastic game. For a brief moment, I thought he was all I had wished him to be, and I could love him again. Do you think he lied to you, Rosa?
I never felt that he did, and I never remember catching him in any lies or anything.
If he ever lied to me, I don't know it. Of course, he made, his tall tales, but he would smile and you knew a tall tale was being told. That was having fun with life. You knew not to believe those tales, and he didn't expect you to. He was in the Army, he was in the Marines, whoever he was talking to was in, he was in it too. And that was just, you don't let the truth stand in the way of a good story.
I wanted to pin him down. Inadvertently, he created a truth seeker. I became obsessed with pinning down the truth.
Whoa, put your Kepler next to that. Put your Kepler. Who's my sweetheart? Who's my sweetheart? You're my sweetheart. You're my sweetheart. You're daddy's baby. Yeah. Tough on us old people, huh, Bobby? Hey, isn't it tough on us?
If you stick it out long enough, you need each other. Now that I got sick, he takes wonderful care of me. And Right now, I feel happy. I'm happy to be alive.
JB, I keep asking you and you don't give me answers. Do you think that her life is a quality life?
Well, it's not alive, but she's alive.
You mean it's better to be alive?
Bobby, are you alive, Ella? Huh? Well, she's not in pain. She understands, she knows. She knows people and everything.
You certainly believe in life at any cost, don't you?
Well, if you were married, maybe you'd understand. The doctor says miracles happen. And that's what I'm hoping on it. Right, Bobilla? Hey, ui, Bella, Daddy made a fortune for doing the ganze Platz noch einmal. Ui, hey, ui. Should I say you did it? Should I say you did it? I can't take the blame, so I'll say you did it.
Watching this relationship my whole life presented me with an impossible choice. I didn't want to be like my mother. I didn't want to play that role. And now it's too late for me to make any other choice. I'm on my own, and I ask myself, who's going to take care of me at the end?
Your mother was a beautiful woman.
Yeah. Hard to match that with the end.
Yeah, the end was... That's what when I get sick, I remember her end. And I say, God forbid, that's not the way I want to go. I want to just go to sleep and wake up, not wake up the next morning. That would be the best way. Oh, God.
Two years after my mother died, I saw my father for the last time.
How are you doing?
Since when?
What are you taking pictures of me for?
Are you beginning to?
I always do, JB.
Play her again.
If I didn't,
Long time no see. You look pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't expect things to
Really?
look that good.
Why shouldn't I do it?
well, why shouldn't you? I mean, leukemia.
Get the best treatment. With all the diseases I got, sugar diabetes, leukemia, cancer of the blood.
And you're still kicking.
Why should I kick?
The whole family was there for my niece's wedding. Somebody at the wedding said that JB had a new girlfriend.
Hey, JB, I hear you got a girlfriend.
He wants immediate service. He's a private nurse.
No, I heard about it. You're still okay with the women, huh?
What's wrong with being okay with the women?
You just gotta watch out for AIDS today.
My eyes filled with tears. I could barely see my father.
Okay, Uncle. Bye.
Bye, kids. Take
Bye.
it
You
easy.
take My son is great.
Next time you see me, I'll be in with Bubby.
Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry.
I want to Bubby.
Don't cry. No, don't. Come on. Lay his throat, okay? You son of a bitch.
Look at you bastard.
This is the greatest.
Then I looked up for a moment. I saw Donnie crying. Donnie and JB never reconciled.
What is planted? Time to weep and a time to laugh, time to grieve and a time to dance.
One afternoon, he called me at work and asked me if I would come over. He came to the door, and he had a towel over him, and there lays a woman. And he looks at me and winks. And I'm thinking, my 77-year-old father is having sex. He introduces me to this Mary, long white hair, and she had a ribbon tied up here, no clothes on, and that's how I met his girlfriend, Mary.
She talked to me about him, and she said, "He's the greatest lover I ever had." Even at that point, I marveled. I thought, God, JB, that's fantastic. That was fantastic. 8 years later, Dorothy and I visited our parents' grave. She remembered her last moments with JB.
He was in intensive care. I said, Dad, I want to ask you, please, one thing you never said to me that I can remember in all my life is that you love me. Now, if you can hear me, Dad, tell me, just one time, tell me you love me. Just, make me happy today. Tell me you love me. And I'm sitting there talking to a dead man. Please tell me you love me. And he wouldn't.
He didn't learn it from his father, so he didn't know how to pass it on to me. And I hope that that's one thing that I've changed. I hope I have been able to protect my children and to help nurture them so that they'll grow into better people. And each generation, maybe they'll grow into a little bit better each time.
Never got no love. Didn't know how to give it. What a cold, cold, hard place to come from.
What a kid.